Hello, everyone. We welcome you to the to the fourth episode of the season three of Gasam Special Bantaba. I am Ibrahim J. Jallo, your host for today's episode. We are really excited having you in our Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and following us. We hope to have a very fruitful session with um, our honorable guest. And make sure that you introduce yourself, as some of us have started doing. Yeah, some of them are introducing themselves in our Facebook more especially. And make sure that you jot down your questions, because I think we should make the best of our guest that we have today. So she is indeed a very great. And as always, we have very great guests and interesting conversation lineups for you. Today we are going to discuss on a very important issue concerning youth. It is a very important subject as far as youths are concerned. Without further ado, I will just give the floor to my co-host, Mr. Omar Ture. Mr. President, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ibrahima. I hope that I am very audible.
Yeah, very well.
Thank you. Good evening once again. As my host already mentioned, I am Omar Toure, your co-host today, and I'm welcoming you all to the season three, episode one of this Gasam special Bantaba. And today we have an amazing guest, Duro. She is the executive director of the Partnership in Employment, the Gambia. And the theme today is entrepreneurship and employability. I look forward to having a wonderful session with you all today, and hopefully we will all make it interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much, Mr. Ture. Yes, go ahead.
yes, I think our guest is available, guest speaker Duro. If you could please say hi to all of to all here. Or maybe the host can carry on while she waits. Ibrahim, I think you can go on.
All right. Thank you very much for that brief introductions, Omar. I think if our guest is available, she can come forward and introduce ourselves. I'm sure the viewers would be happy to hear from her because she is an amazing guy, an amazing person, doing very great in the Gambia and in different parts of Africa. So, Drew, you are very welcome. Can you please come ahead and get us through some of the amazing stuff that you're doing?
Oh,
The viewers would be happy to hear from. Sorry for that. I was talking, but my mic was muted. Our guest is back. Drew, you are highly welcome.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Oh, we are fine. Fine, thanks. How are you?
Awesome. I'm fine too.
Nice. You are welcome to the show.
Sure, great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Omar just did the introductions. My co-host, she
Yeah,
welcomed you, but it seems the connections was kind of weak from your end that we couldn't hear. If you said anything, we couldn't hear you.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. So, yes, I
Very
heard
well.
his introduction, and yes, I'm happy to be here. And if you can, we can get started. I'm fine. Yeah,
Very good. Thank you so very much. Just to remind the viewers, this is the Gasam Bantaba, or the first episode, tourism season for that matter. And here with us, we have Duroseme and the Executive Director of Partnership in Employment Gambia. She is actually doing great. She really helps in branding the or modeling young people all over the country, be it Gambia. Because I can remember some times ago, was it 2020? I joined one program that you had with MJ on Dolan we saw. It was actually
21.
a very, very
yeah.
interesting session that we had. So without further ado, I will just remind us the theme of discussion today, that is entrepreneurship and employability. So, in its most practical sense, can you uh, help us to define or to descriptively explain what this theme entails, entrepreneurship and employability?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the data, Gambia is a very young population. Employment is very high. Unemployment is very high in Gambia, and it's even worse among youth. Some statistics claim to be as high as 40%. That's a lot of young people out of work. So, how do we ensure that young people are employed, are gainfully employed, and contributing towards the society? And entrepreneurship also helps to close this gap, because with entrepreneurship you create employment. You're moving from just being a job seeker to being a job creator. You create employment, you create a business, and you can employ maybe one, two, or three youth, depending on how big your business is. So definitely entrepreneurship plays a big part in employability, especially in countries where we have high unemployed youth and employment. Can you hear me? You're freezing.
I think he's freezing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
he's freezing.
definitely. I think you made right. Okay, I think
So
you
yeah.
made mention of a very, very important point here. That is closing the gap on employment as what you guys are doing as entrepreneurs. It's actually something very, very important because actually the government do it all alone. Because most of the time, us as youth here, what we think of if we graduate is to go back, and be employed. So how do we take this mentality of, we being job seekers all the time? How do we actually try to modify our thinking to make sure that we don't seek jobs, but as youth, we think of creating jobs?
I mean, entrepreneurship is definitely a scary endeavor to go in for anybody, even after you have had years and years of experience. Entrepreneurship can be very scary. So, what we do at PI is we are encouraging a partnership with employment. This is my foundation in Gambia. We are encouraging internships in during high school, so you get experience working, because setting up an endeavor on your own is scary. It's a scary thought, it's a long journey, and it's a difficult journey. And sometimes it can be very lonely if you don't set up the right teams. So having internships helps you understand professionalism, helps you understand teamwork, helps you understand the process of taking an idea and building it and executing it successfully. So we encourage young people to undertake internships. We encourage organizations to also take interns and groom them to get to that point where they can be successful in executing a series of steps to get their ideas from just an idea into an actual reality. So we encourage strongly that young people uh, take up internship and volunteer opportunities while still in high school. This is not something that's a very common thing in Gambia, and we need to change that because the younger you are when you learn how to do this, the more likely that you will have that spirit of entrepreneurship when you actually graduate and ready to start something. And all over the world, we're seeing young people start businesses at a young age. Not only just businesses for profit, but even organizations that help solve a need within your community. So we need to start doing this more often. We need to start getting young people into it even a younger age, from like middle school onwards. We need to start getting young people to the idea of working independently, solving solutions, working in teams, solving problems, because the heart of entrepreneurship is to solve a problem. So once we get young people into this idea, into this phase earlier, the better it is that they will likely be doing able to do this on their own when they graduate.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. That's very, very, very important, solving problems. But Duro, I think there is something very, very important we almost skipped here. That is getting through your biography, getting through your biography, definitely, because I can see while I get to LinkedIn, your experience, qualifications that you had. It's very, very interesting to let the audience know that, or to take the audience through this biography of yours. I will allow Mr. Omar to step in and tell the people who Drew really is, your achievements, and then all that. Omar, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Ibrahima, and thank you so very much once again, Duro, for that comprehensive explanation of what entrepreneurship really entails, and actually for
Thank you.
setting light on exactly the our advantage as youth for undertaking such endeavors, because we are actually at a bigger advantage to undertake than when you compare it to our older generation. So thank you so much for that. And for some of our viewers who do not know about you, I would like to take a brief overview of your biography. Please allow me.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So about Duro, Duro is an entrepreneurial and meticulous professional who is passionate about helping businesses succeed. And she has proven skills in mathematics and engineering research, uh, also in business operations and analytics for effective analysis of data. She also has a substantial experience in increasing comprehension of reports and presentations for diverse audiences. And I would also like to go through her educational background. Um, Duro is an alumni of Marina High School, and she has a bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering from the Florida Institute of Technology. She also has a master's in electrical engineering from the University of Florida, and also an MBA specializing in general business administration and management from the European School of Management in Bali. Throughout her career, she has also made so many undertakings and achieved so many endeavors. She is the founder of a partnership in youth employment, PIE, in 2013. And this partnership in youth employment is devoted to solving the most pressing issues of our country with regard to employment. And shortly, she will brief us about it before we move further into the theme of the session. Duro is also the founder of Tukiman in 2016. Tukiman is a mobility company with a vision of changing the way we travel in the Gambia and the wider ECOWAS region. It was founded by Duro with the vision of making sustainable car travel both comfortable and affordable. with focus on ground passenger transport, that is vans, buses, and others. She has also been engaging in blood donation hackathons. As Ibrahima said, in 2021, she had a session with, I think it's in Africa, on issues concerning the blood donation hackathons. And it was a very interesting event.
Ama,
Yes. Uh,
Omar,
is
sorry, I was saying that I don't know what. Okay, very well. You can continue. You are audible now.
I'm audible, right?
You can go on, please. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Although, okay, thank you. I was talking about the Zoom in conversation in 2021 that we attended concerning blood donation hackathons that Duro was engaged on. I think this is phenomenal, and we are really honored having you around here today, Duro. And if you could also give us a brief overview of the partnership in employment before we get into the theme of the decision today. Thank you so much.
Gladly. Gladly, I will do that gladly. So I actually, when I started partnership in employment, I was actually working at the U.S. Embassy at that point, and one of my objectives was one of my objectives was the American Corner internship program. If you are in Gambia, you probably know about American Corners. And American Corners is fully run by interns from UTG. And there started my endeavors with partnership in employment. We received a lot of resumes and we interviewed a lot of UTG students. But what became clear is that a lot of people just do not know how to put their best foot forward when it comes to finding work, when it comes to the job search. And so we started with doing resume workshops and interviewing, helping young people prepare for interviews. And it has grown. It has grown really with support from other people. For instance, the Young Entrepreneurs Association, we collaborated to organize the first Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. So the initial idea has grown a lot from what we initially endeavored to just help. It started. Let's just help young people build better CVs. To let's help them interview. Or we need to make sure that we create opportunities for these young people to actually be able to use their interview skills. And partnership and collaboration was born with Young Entrepreneurs Association. We organized the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Yes, Gambia. We've organized it twice. We will hope that we will be able to have more sessions of this in the future. And yeah, that's where we are right now. Right now, we're doing the internship programs. We are looking for volunteers to join the team. We're looking for partners to work with us to help sponsor some of these programs that we have. But most of our programs are geared to Gambians. uh, how do we ensure that Gambians are part of the solution? Because these are our problems. These are the problems that we have in our country, and who is best to solve them than Gambians themselves? So how do we ensure that they have the tools and the equipment and the skills required that they can be able to effectively diagnose the problem and actually solve them? So this is actually the purpose of PI. We have defined this purpose over the since 2013 when we initially started, and we're at the point where we are convinced that the problems of Gambians are best solved by Gambians. So we want to ensure that Gambians understand this and have the tools and skills necessary to solve the problems that we're facing in our country.
Thank you so much. Phenomenal. Uh, what's in Ibrahim?
Very much, Duro, for taking us through that. That's the amazing work that you actually doing back home. Think it is worth to be recognized and to really doing great. Continue with the great job that you're doing. And besides, you're not only doing what you're doing, but you inspiring us as young people. to at least do the same, because over the years you've been doing a lot of amazing stuffs, organizing uh, these programs to help better model and orient young people into taking up such initiatives as they move on. So I think you are really doing great. So still on the subject, entrepreneurship and employability. So these are two very important points actually. When you talked about entrepreneurship, you talked about being willing to come forward to sacrifice not only your resources but your time and everything that you have. So looking at the environment in the Gambia, we see not many young people engage in this entrepreneurship journey. So how do you actually work to ensure that not only these programs that you actually organize with young people to better orient them on what entrepreneurship entails, but practically how are you, or what moves have you been taking to make sure that a better avenue is being provided or being granted to young people to at least step forward uh, and admire or be inspired to take up the entrepreneurship challenge?
So lately we've been thinking about the ideas of starting in the high school, because most of our programs really have been targeted towards university students, high school graduates, and university students. So we have been rethinking this idea lately, and we want to go even younger at the high school level. We want to have in place leadership programs where we get high school students to be involved in community work in their communities, right where they're living. So we have been working on what I will call the leadership development program, and what we would like to do is pilot this program in a series of high school, and we're asking high school students to look in their communities at what is the problem in their communities that they can spend a whole year on working and solving, and then we will have them work together in groups, go through a step of how do you diagnose a problem, and how do you brainstorm solutions, and how do you build a strategy towards implementing your solution and executing, and how do you measure the success of your solutions implementation. So we're looking at going even younger than university students. We want to get them when they're very young. We want to build this idea of solving problems, being inquisitive, asking the questions, working together in teams. These are skills that can be nurtured from high school. These are not skills that we have to wait until we get to university to nurture. These are skills that we can nurture even in primary school. But we want to start off in the high school, and then maybe after we are successful in high school, then we will think about going even
So
younger to
sorry,
start
I
at
think
a younger
there is kind of some noise from your end there. I think if you can regulate it, people will be able to hear well.
age. Are you not hearing me well now?
Yes,
Can you hear
we
Not
me?
really, not really. We can't hear you very well. Omar, can you hear him? Can you hear her?
yes,
Sorry.
yes, I can clearly hear.
Very well.
Okay.
Then you can go ahead, please.
Okay. So as I was saying that the idea is to make this achievable and attainable for even younger students, younger than university students. We want to go to the high schools. We want to do this in the high school. Before this program, we used to have the after five events where we would invite young people who are working on solutions, community-based solutions, problems that solutions that solve a particular need or issue in their society. So we want to take this younger. We want high school students to be involved, and so we're working on how do we ensure that we can get a program and fund this so that young people in high school learn these skills in high school so that they are ready for entrepreneurship and the job market after they get out of high school. because we also understand that not university, while great, not everybody wants to go to university. So how do we make sure that and a lot of young people don't actually even complete high school. So we need to figure out how do we get them younger so that this might even increase our high school, reduce the dropout rate. So we really just want to go younger than our university students.
Thank you so much, Ms. Doro. I think this is really interesting, especially having to catch this part of the the citizens of the country at a very young age. I think it's very important in shaping their subconscious mind. Even in the long run, there will be more of people who do not ask what the system will be doing, or what the system will provide for them, but they will actually undertake things into their own hands and develop with that as they grow. I think it's really amazing work, and it's actually the fastest way to contribute to national development, and I think it's the best way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Omar, on that, I think, to be honest, they are doing really, really amazing. Like you said, our problem can be solved by our own self. Gambian problem can be solved, can only be solved by Gambians. So, like, your job is very, very amazing. Like Omar said, what you guys are doing, modeling these young people's mindset from that tender age or from high school. I think it is one of the things that we lack in the Gambia. We lack such programs that help young people from an earlier age to at least build a mentality of taking responsibility. But instead, what we always know is to graduate and go and search for job. Though searching for job is good, work for your country. But I think you coming up with such initiatives like this, to be honest, will go a long way in bettering the lives of people and youth in general in the Gambia. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. And also, Duro, you having already defined the term entrepreneurship and given us a comprehensive view of exactly what it is. It's also very important that as as citizens of Africa and the Gambia, to also know how these things relate to or shape our national or shape the national development of our country. And you also having worked with the United Nations for a reasonable amount of time. If you could also highlight to us how entrepreneurship and employability also contributes to the sustainable development goals of the United Nations, and even most importantly, the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. Thank you.
So we know that the SDGs they have pillar. I think pillar 16 is for partnership, and we have so we the 16 SDGs. We have a lot that talks. 17 is for partnerships, and then we have number 8, which is decent work, and number 9, industry innovation and infrastructure. So how do these all contribute towards the SDGs? For instance, one of the great things about entrepreneurship is that you can be as innovative as you want. It is your idea. You can take it as far as you want. You can make it as new as you want, or you can stick with just improving, slight improvement, which is actually at the heart of innovation. So with entrepreneurship, you have the opportunity to work towards these things, and which we are encouraging. Young people come up with ideas all the time. We see it all over the world. They come up with brilliant new ideas, or they see things differently than what is the norm that is currently in their, maybe their situation or their communities. So this is actually how entrepreneurship uh, uh, gets to that. And I think if you look at it at the heart of it, entrepreneurship cuts across all 17 goals. Because how do we solve the issue of education? How do we solve the issue of water in our country? Education is SDG 3. How do we solve the issue of zero hunger, SDG 2? With entrepreneurship, we have young people coming up with ideas about how to change the value system, the agricultural value system. This is entrepreneurship. we are changing and we're solving SDG tools by entrepreneurship. SDG 3, which is like education. There you go. Good health. SDG 3. I recently reached out. Some young people recently reached out to me about their solution for maternal health clinic, mobile maternal health clinic. This is entrepreneurship at the heart of it, and it is solving another SDG. So entrepreneurship really is cuts across all the SDGs. You can be an entrepreneur in any of the 17 SDGs, and it's so they like that's just one of the things, and this is why I'm so passionate about SDG entrepreneurship, because I feel that it cuts across all parts of society. It helps you solve the issue of maternal health. Why do we have such a high maternal health? This is what we say. You talked about the blood drive that we were trying to do. Entrepreneurship, it's solving a simple, it's solving a really serious problem in our country. When we have this app, if and when this app does go up, it will really ease the process of finding a donor match for anybody that needs it, because we have blood bank issues. So there we go. So we are using as entrepreneurship in this thing. Really, entrepreneurship cuts across all the SDGs, and I'm excited about that, and I'm hoping that we will get to the point where we see this, we realize this, and we have that ecosystem that helps entrepreneurs to come up with their solutions, implement it. And yes, entrepreneurship, part of entrepreneurship is failure. You talked about my transport business. I mean, right now we have ceased operation. You know, COVID came around, nobody was traveling, so there was like really a big lull. And this is part of entrepreneurship, and this is why I say that we should not be scared of these things. When we start it early, young people get used to the idea of failing early and failing forward, like they say, we fail forward. So these are things that we need to expect, and we need to build this in young people's mentality as early as possible.
Thank you so much, Duro, for clarifying this point for us. And I hope that the viewers are really taking note that if you be an entrepreneur, you solve so many things in the societies at the same time. Not just in our society, but as you said, even at a global level, you become a global citizen and contribute to the advancement of the world and society. Thank you so much.
Yes, Omar, I think that is a very, very interesting point. You know, the methodology of being solution problem solvers. Of course, they are solutionists. They are people solution oriented philosophy. This is why trust entrepreneurs. I believe in entrepreneurs because they are one of the very very important thing that really impact not only us in Africa, because within Africa we kind of retarded in the entrepreneurship area, but then in countries that we look up to in this government, like these are private investors, and as entrepreneurs they are the ones that do very very amazing stuff in all areas, be it the tech area, which is currently coming up in the Gambia. And this brought me to my other question, because lately I have been following so many programs in the Gambia, but I have seen a current market that is a market that is currently developing, that is mostly led by those of the tech area. Last week, few days ago, I followed a program on the being organized by ITAC, that is Information Technology Association of the Gambia. It was really very very interesting startups to discuss their problems and how actually they are really they are impacting in the Gambia. So most of those startups were actually people in the tech industry. So you as somebody who is very very oriented in that tech, in the tech area, and actually doing very very great things in very different areas, what actually do you think, or how do you encourage us as students, to make sure that we really come forward and with our ideas to be entrepreneurs in the tech area?
I myself am not I'm not a tech expert, but I will tell you I have a little bit of tech knowledge, and I would say again the solution, part of the solution is to start early, because yes, like people, you need people to invest in ideas, right? But people also don't want to invest in something that they're not sure in, or they don't want to invest in someone with no experience. So it's, we need, like nowadays tech has really democratized access to anything that you want. You can learn for free online. You can, you can be involved in programs online. You can get involved in competitions online. These help you build skills, right? So for instance, you log in online to a platform where you, like the Google is doing amazing work in teaching tech to people all over the world. So you can log into Google Scholars and take a class and even collaborate on teams with projects. Build your skills. We as young Gambians, we really need to build our skills. We need to get those experiences on our because when you go for, even now when you go for an entry level job, they tell you you need 2 years experience. How do you get that 2 years experience? You get it by working on projects, by working with teams, solving the little problems and making sure that you become an expert on that. If you're going to learn a skill, you learn it online. You come back and you practice, you join a competition, you win a competition here, or at least just enter and complete a competition, complete a program, a course online. There's no excuse for us to be waiting and sitting around and waiting anymore. There's not, zero. So anybody who wants to learn, you can learn now, even for free. Now we see all these programs, MBA online, and all that stuff. They're free or almost zero. The other time I was looking at a course, you pay $99. Once you complete it, they will refund you your $99. There's there's a plethora of programs online that anybody can join. All you need is an internet connection, and I think those are widely available now in Gambia. You can go to a telecenter. You need to make the time, and you need to gain those skills, because if you want people to take their hard-earned money and invest in you, you have to show them that you're capable. We cannot just say, oh, this person did not invest in me, and we can't just expect people to work hard and give you their money without any idea of what you can do, or without you showing them what you have done. So we need to slowly move away from that. We need to build confidence in investors. We need to make sure that we tell them and show them what they can do. Like the saying says, show me, don't tell me. So we need to get to that point, and tech is really amazing in having opened up access for anybody who wants to. Even when you go down to the villages, there are internet cafes. So even our young people in the villages can also learn how to get to a tech skills. Now, what we can do as people who have the knowledge of this is, how do we share it with our young people, our young colleagues in the villages? We need to share this information. We need to make sure that they know that they also can learn these skills from where they are. And so that is one of the things that we want to do as SPY, making sure that they understand and they know where to go to get this information. And with your
And so,
program, with your platform, this is something that you can probably do. Show the young people who are logging into your programs how they can get these skills. They're free, so we need to make sure that they know, because sometimes knowledge is power. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing this program, and I'm hoping that you guys can be more proactive and make sure the information gets to your colleagues all over the country.
definitely, that is a very, very interesting point. When you made mention of building confidence in the sides of the investors, like you said, nobody can invest on you if they don't see what you can actually present to them, what you can do or what you have done. You must have a record of something that is very, very important that you have at least do for yourself. So that brings us to the second part of the discussion, that is employability. I mean, when you talk about employability, most of the time is concentrated on what you can offer, as an employee, or what you can actually, the value in you that you have and you can offer. So, we will really love you to also take us through that aspect of the discussion. And Omar, if you have something to add before she hit the point, think you can come forward and before she answer the question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ibrahim, and thank you, Duro, for that wonderful points. Those wonderful points. I'll actually come back to the skills aspect. As it said, normally the resources of a country, the most important resource of a country is not actually the minerals that they usually have, I think, but it's the human resources. And building those skills of the population is actually what drives economic value, and that's actually what propels the economy and advanced growth and contribute to national progress. I think it's really important. And, yeah, for now, we can dive into the topic of employment, and from there the question. Thank
I
you.
can't hear you. I didn't hear you.
Yes, you are hearing me now.
Yes, yeah.
Did you hear from the beginning, or
No, I
like?
just your last 10, 20 seconds. I didn't hear.
Yeah, the last I was saying you can dive into the topic of employability, and from there the discussion can continue.
So
Thank you.
for young people who are just getting into the market, we go through several phases in our lives. Where we go through high school, we finish high school, we go to university, and by that time, I'm hoping that you have gotten some internships that you can put down on your resume, and you have gotten some skills from your internship. Unfortunate, but for some people, they have just never been able to get that internship experience, and it is quite okay and understandable. And that is why I said that you learn the skills online, you get into competitions, be active from high school and university. It's like you said, some people just want to graduate and look for work, but while we're in university, the purpose of university and the purpose of high school education is to prepare you for the job market. Look at the job market, you know what you are good at, build on those skills. You know what employers are looking for. Employers want young people who can learn, young people who can solve problems. As an employer in the Gambia, these are the things that I was looking for. I was looking for young people who will ask the questions that are necessary, who would attempt, be brave enough to attempt a solution. I was looking for young people. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. So I was looking for young people who ask questions. I was looking for young people who are brave enough to attempt a problem, knowing that it might or might not work. As employers, we know that we are solving problems. So we're not hiring you to solve a problem that has already been solved. We're hiring you to help solve a problem that is ongoing. If a problem has already been solved, why do we need other people? So don't be afraid, get involved, know that you might get it wrong, but be resourceful, be resourceful, put yourself out there, get those skills that you can show to an employer. Work on yourself from high school, prepare yourself mentally that, okay, when I'm done with high school, it's either I'm going to find a work or I'm going to do my own thing. So we need to start thinking more about how do we show employers that we're employable, your skills that you need for employment. And then as you get older, maybe the job search is a little bit different. You're growing, you're getting up the ladder, and then now you want to start your own business. That is also a bunch of skills. And in the Gambia, they're doing great jobs with this. The YEP program is there, Empretech, all these programs, startup incubator, all of these programs are there to help you when you are ready to start your own business. So yeah, employability is there. We get to that point where we are able to show employers that we are coming in with the resources that you require for me to solve your problems. It's not about what we're going to learn at that business, but it's how we're going to implement what we have learned from 18 years of high school and university into the employment, into the work.
Thank you so much, Doro, for that for those wonderful points. As you said, the market is just there. The market is actually fair. If you actually have something to contribute in it, it will reward you. And if you don't have much, you can go and focus on skills development, things that will actually create economic value, and then for you to be able to contribute and then add to the national growth. Yeah. Thank you so much. And speaking of even employment, that brings me to even the first question concerning the liaison between employment and entrepreneurship. If you look at the Gambian landscape, from what we have, from what some of us have observed, it appears to be that entrepreneurship, especially in technology, is kind of misunderstood, and it is also an unsolved endeavor in Africa, I can say, particularly in the Gambia. Uh, by now, when I say by now, I mean as in the 21st century, um, every country should be having a very vibrant tech and startup ecosystem whereby hundreds of startups fight to capture a part of the market. But what we are seeing right now is in the Gambia, the problems are there are a lot of problems that actually people can learn skills in and then engage to solve. The problems are very plain and clear and visible and very obvious. But it seems like something is missing for people to actually undertake on solving these problems, to attack them, and then to be also able to scale rapidly. Because we have seen a lot of startups like Azutech, Vejara, Jangalma. But what we have observed is that they are not actually scaling actually at a national level to be able to make a very huge impact. The question is like, what do you think is actually missing? What is the missing thing? Does it have to do more with the system or the commitment of the citizens?
I mean, it takes a lot of commitment and guts to work on a problem and solve it and to bring it out. And besides just commitment and guts, it also takes resources. Most young people who come up with these ideas, they bootstrap in the beginning. However, bootstrapping can only take you so far. You know, once you have started and you have put in your resources into a particular solution, it gets to a point where you need an injection of whether resources, whether it's cash or other types of resources to scale up nationally. And that is probably where the government can work on better to make sure that these solutions, when they have established an MVP, minimum value proposition, that they have gotten to that point where they have gotten their first maybe 1,000 customers. They need to scale up. So how do we ensure that businesses don't just die when they reach there? That is something that we have to think about on a national scale. This is not something that one person can solve, and it takes all of us to get to that solution. Like I said, once you get your first 1,000 customers, maybe the next step is 10,000 customers. The resources required between going from 1,000 and 10,000 can be astronomical for someone who is bootstrapping, and you cannot just wait for to grow it 1,100, 1,200 to get to that point, because even maybe at 1,000 you have reached the maximum of your current system, and to expand it, maybe the next expansion phase, we all know how tech is, the next expansion phase is maybe 10,000. And so there's that gap between that 1,000. I'm just giving a hypothetical situation here, so that the gap that closes from 1,000 to 10,000 can be astronomical in cost. You probably need a server room at that point. You need some kind when you have a server room, you need air conditioning. You need a backup UPS system to make sure that your system is always online, because we know about the power issues in Gambia, so you can't just rely on NAWEC. So there goes, like, then your costs are so astronomical that you cannot just bootstrap. And then what happens? You're not able to continue the expansion. The business dies. It's not necessarily an issue of one person. It's a systemic issue, and I'm glad that there are a lot of players in the tech system that are seeing these issues and actually working towards solving it. I think that it just requires more time for us to figure out how do we make sure that these businesses, when they reach their MVP and they have reached their target of initial customers, we're able to expand them, because I don't think it's an issue of the customers don't want it. If they have gotten some customers, that means customers want it. But how do we fund them to get to that next stage is the problem that we're seeing in a lot of startups.
Thank you so much for those highlights. And yeah, as you said, the funding, access to finance is actually a crucial problem for most of these startups. And that's also that also prevents them to even expand and then be able to create more employment for people. Yeah. Thank you so much for those highlights. Uh, Rama, you can,
Yeah,
Yeah, I can hear you.
definitely.
uh,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
it's
Oh,
Duro.
okay.
Yes,
I think.
did you, yeah, yeah. Did you ask a
Yeah, you
question? I
can.
didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that point. You know, I realize that there are very, very important points and questions being raised by our our viewers. So it will be fair to read from it and let them have their questions cleared by uh, Honorable Duru. So yes, I would be reading some of these comments if you might permit, so that you can at least clear it for them.
Sure, yeah.
This first one was by Kisimasisi. It's by Kisimasisi. He says, this reminds, this, oh, okay, this is not part of it, sorry. Okay, this is by Awa. He said, I will attest to that. I applied and was invited for an interview last year for the American Corner Internship Program that you've just made mention here. And I'm hoping to learn more about what exactly the programs looks for, because I wasn't successful after the interview. We have another one here, all by our said also, is there any ways that the American Corner Internship Program can be more available remotely for Gambians that are currently not in the Gambia? So you can kindly help out with that.
So I no longer work at the U.S. Embassy, and so I'm not able to answer questions relevant, pertinent to the American Corner Internship Program. But I can tell you that at Partnership in Employment, we are actually looking for support with our internship program, because we also have an internship program, but we are doing more of a matching one than at Partnership. The objective is to get Gambian companies to sign up to the internship program, and then get Gambian youth to also sign up, and then we can partner organizations and young people looking for internships. So you can send me a message via our Facebook page, Partnership in Employment. This is our Facebook page. I'm looking forward to working with young people who have a like mind and would like to support us to expand our internship program. So if you have something to offer,
Definitely.
please send me a message through the Facebook page. It's Partnership in Employment, and I will get
Yeah.
back to you.
Mhm. Definitely. If you have anything, like I said, you can just link her through Facebook. You know, she is somebody who is willing to connect all the time. So be free to do that. So this other one is by Musa Gaucho Dembele. He said, thank you, Madam Duro, for the initiative to tackle one of the major problems of our beloved country. My concerns is majority of Gambians are working, but still facing difficulties to satisfy even more of their basic needs. Therefore, there is employment, but no useful employment. So what do you think we can do to have to create these useful employments?
I think decent work is one of the SDGs, right? SDG 8 is decent work and economic growth. The realities of Gambia, our Gambian economy is such that employers do struggle to pay uh, decent wage, and this is actually something that I don't know that I have the answer to, because at the end of the day, I'm not an economist. I am sorry, there's background noise here. But at the end of the day, I am not an economist. I'm just an engineer who has a passion for entrepreneurship. So, how do we solve the problems of decent work? I mean, I don't. I'm not sure I have the correct answer. I have some ideas, but the fact is, even when I had a business, I was struggling to pay decent wage. By the time you pay your operating costs and you pay taxes, really, it's income from businesses. Unless you're at a large enough scale, you will struggle to pay decent wages for small businesses. So when you, that's why I said when you get into a business, you have to be able to contribute to that business's bottom line. You know, when you get into a business and you just go through the motions and you're not really contributing towards that business's bottom line, what happens is the business will fall, will close down. And when the business closes down, that, you know, when you get into work, you have to be in it. You have to understand that you have been employed to solve a problem that affects the company's bottom line. So the way you interact in that company really is so important. And unfortunately, a lot of our young people don't understand that. So I'm encouraging young people, as you get into the workforce, understand that your role in the company is not just to just go and show up and sign a timesheet. No, your work in that company is important. And if you want to make sure that you're paid and you're paid higher wages as time goes on, you have to contribute to that company's bottom line. So I'm encouraging you, young people, when you get into the workforce, you go with that mindset that you have to contribute to the company. You can affect the company's bottom line. Do not think that your role in the company is too small to affect the company's bottom line. You start, everybody starts from somewhere. So you start small and you grow your, you become a contributing member, because at the end of the day, sorry, 1 minute.
Uh,
So yes, let us go into workforce with renewed spirit, renewed vigor. Let us make sure that we are contributing to the company. Make sure that the company is meeting its targets, because that is so important to growth. When these business people, business owners set targets, it's not set randomly. It's a strategy that translates to targets. And if your company is not meeting the targets because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, how do you expect them to pay you more? So yeah, the issue of wages, decent wage, is going to be a challenge until we all realize what role we have to pay in the company, to play in the company.
Thank you so much, Duro. I think the question has more or less been perfectly answered. And just wanted to add a little on actually the employment, on the term used useless employment. Normally, we live in a sovereign country, and there are defined economic terms on exactly how the market should reward someone who has contributed. And I think when it comes to most of these employments, if it is actually an employment where the employee is actually creating value, adding skills, and then making impact, it's actually very understandable and obvious that the market is actually going to reward you based on the impact that you are making. So I think we should more focus on this impact, how to make impact based on the skills that we have, so that we'll be able to acquire something from actually the company, as you rightly mentioned.
Yeah.
So I think it depends more on the employer than actually even the system, because it is economic laws actually universal. The more values you create, the more rewards you get. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, the skills the employees, some rightly, some employers, some business owners probably do not have the skills, but as a business owner, you set up a business with a particular vision. As an owner, a founder, you should be able to make sure that everybody in that company is buying into the vision, and ensuring that they buy into the vision and they buy into the targets that you have set out for the company. And this is better done with everybody in the companies. You set targets together and you ensure that your team understands and how to get established those targets, or is working towards those visions and targets. So yes, on the part of some employers, we just don't know how to create these things, and this is why we have the entrepreneurship programs running, where people are trying to build an entrepreneurship ecosystem that helps business founders who have gotten off their business to ensure that they are able to set a proper vision, they're able to set their targets, and they're able to have a strategy to achieve those targets. And you, as the employee, when you are in that role, also your goal is to ensure that once you accept the responsibilities for meeting the targets that are assigned to you, you actually get to those. However you do it, you try, you fail, but you have a team there to back you up to make sure that you're being able to reach your goals. Yeah. So everybody has a role to play. The business owner has a role to play, the employees have a role to play. And also obviously government has its role to play. Yes.
Mhm. Indeed, very, very important there. You know, uh, at some point it's kind of very difficult because most of the time talking with us as students, you realize that what we learn and what we achieve, what we find when we graduate, it's kind of something very, very different. We learn something most of the time we don't find them in the real practical world. Like us here, unless you go and invest on yourself to make more research, to develop your skills in different areas, you wouldn't be able to be fit in the job market. So, what is your advice? I mean, what will you advise us as young people, you as students currently studying? I mean, to ensure that we at least equip ourselves with the necessary skills before graduating, so that when we graduate, it wouldn't be a very, very long struggle for us to uh, stand out and get captured by the job market.
So I would say this is a very good question, because a lot of young people graduate and they're stuck in their job search for long. I would encourage, even I self find myself in that same situation, even currently. So what I would suggest really is internships. You start working on internships as soon as possible, because you know what that tells an employer when you do graduate, that you're able to manage your time. Imagine telling an employer, while I was in university, I had a job, so I had this taught me time management skills. you know that is a very important skill for anybody to have in the workforce. You are able to set competing priorities. So you have job obligations, you have university obligations. So you're able to know how to organize these priorities. And if you successfully do graduate university while having an internship, that tells an employer that you multitask, you can juggle different things. So get those internships. And if you're struggling to get those internships, school projects is another way. Volunteer in not-for-profit organizations in your community. There's so much we can do. There is really so much we can do. So let us not be skilled, and let's not just rest on the fact that, oh, we're going to graduate university. So what? Do you know how many people have university degrees? Do you know how many? I know PhD people who are still looking for job almost a year after they have graduated. A university degree does not cut it for anybody nowadays. So it is not enough to say I graduated and got a university degree. People want skills that they know. Okay, so you were able to read a book and write pass exam. What does that tell me about you? Nothing. So get involved. When you go into first year uni, start looking for those internships, start looking for those projects online. There are multiple projects. At UTG, they have the Halt Business Prize competition that they do. So there's so many competitions that you can get involved in. Get involved. Yes, your first few you will fail, and this is what employers are trying to weed out. They don't want someone who will come and fail the first few times. Show them that you have failed before, so that you know you have positive and negative learning experiences. This go hand in hand. So we can't just expect to have positive experiences. We will fail, and I keep telling people that if you are not comfortable with failure and bouncing back from it, you're going to struggle in the long run. So you need to show employers that you have failed a few times, so they know that you can bounce back. You can explain what you learned from these things. This is why they ask you in the job interview, tell me about your weaknesses. Most people don't know their weaknesses because they have not tried. So try in high school, try in university, internship program, projects, get involved, competitions, write competition, get involved. Whether you pass, you win, or you don't win, the important thing is here that you have tried.
Thank you so much.
Definitely, that is a very, very excellent response. Omar, you want to add something? Please come ahead.
Yeah, I was wanted to say just it's actually very, very important, and we are all taking note and make sure that all these things actually implemented from our
Mhm.
minds. And there's also a comment in the comment section. I'm not actually sure if it's a question. It says, unlike Omar said, the tech industry requires that you practice as you learn. Foreign students face a lot of challenges with regards to getting internships in order to keep, maintain, and upgrade themselves so as a fit for the job market by the time they graduate. For example, universities in Morocco don't have internship programs for tech students, and hence students learn for 3 years or so without actually having any hands-on experience. It seems like a comment, like a question. But if you still
Yeah, I
have,
mean, obviously, if you're in a foreign country, it is going to be doubly hard for you. It is going to be There are going to be more barriers for you, because obviously there's the issue of work employment eligibility. Are you eligible to work in that country? So we have more barriers, but like I said, the tech is really creating access. So that's why I suggest the idea of competitions, projects, worldwide global competitions. Even if you uh, apply online to do a hackathon online, or nowadays hackathons are not only for tech. Hackathons are also used for solving social issues. So get in there, get your hands dirty, get involved. So I'm really encouraging young people to understand this.
thank you so much. That has been well digested. Grandma, you wanted to go on?
Yeah, very interesting. I think we are still having very, very interesting comments from the chats. So I feel it will be important to read through these ones. Modlamin Kijera said, thank you, ma'am, for these wonderful words. I think we have to be self-oriented in anything we are able to engage. Being innovative and self-oriented and working as a team would really help one being more productive, especially as an entrepreneur. So you have Musa again. He said many businesses. Oh, I have read this one already. He said many businesses in the Gambia being a startup or already exist are failing and unable to excel because majority neglect the importance of having business plans in the upstream because it's something terms as a waste of time. While actually It helps to see and mitigate some of the major problems you might face in your business. It's better to have mistakes on the paper than to have it in the business. I think it's a very important point, Duro.
Yeah, I mean, preparing a business plan can be a very time consuming endeavor. So that's why we have, YEP has boot camps for this. Startup Incubator also has their startup boot camp that you can enter. So if you're a business and you're thinking about you're in a business and you don't have a business plan, usually there's no excuse. Now we have the what do you call, the business model canvas and the value proposition canvas. These are just 2 pages for you to be able to plan your business, and these are living documents. You change, you update. The idea with business is now that you start small and iterate. You continuously iterate because you want your business to grow. This is not a mindset that we have had, but like I said, the programs that I mentioned before, the YEP, Empretech, Startup Incubator, different organizations, they are trying to build this mindset for businesses to have a business plan. And so, if you're in a business, if you also as an employee and you know that your founder does not have a business plan, you need to also approach your employer and talk to your employer about this. Maybe this is something that you can do in the business. You champion it and you say, hey, if you sponsor me to go to this program, this is what I can do. I can help you prepare your business plan. And so let's take initiative in our businesses, because do you really want to work for a company that does not have a plan? Is that not a waste of your own time? So if you're in a company and you know your company does not have a business plan, I encourage you to approach your boss and say, hey, boss, I noticed that we don't have a business plan, but I see this program that is going on for Startup Incubator. I want to enter our business into it. And I don't think any sensible boss will say no to you. They probably will give you time and say, and you can say, look, if I go to this program, this is what I will bring. I will bring back the business model canvas. I will bring back the value proposition canvas for our business. So let's also take initially, because trust me, I don't want to work for a company that doesn't have a business plan or doesn't have targets or vision. So yeah, yeah, let's be ballsy sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like they said, if you like if you don't know where you're going, I mean, there's no way, you will just end up places that you do not know, but there's no likelihood of you getting to that place. So yeah, I mean, to be a business or to be an established business, you have to have a business plan. It is very, very important. So again, you have another important question by Pa Aliba. He said, "Thank you so much, Madam, for this interesting program. My question is, to what extent do your leadership experience help in the employment sector?"
So for me, I wouldn't say it's working of my leadership experience. For me, my passion that drives me is research, experiment, try, go back, iterate. So that is what I work off. Because we're all leaders, so I don't feel like I have to hold anybody's hands. The people who work with me know that I tell them, look, try it on your own and come back to me when you're stuck. Everybody I work with, this is what I say. Once you take up a responsibility, I expect you to actually try it, because I don't have all the solutions. That's not what being a leader is about. So I see a problem in my community, and the problem I am interested in tackling is youth unemployment and entrepreneurship, professional development. These are the things that I am passionate about solving, and these are the things that I spend my time on solving. So everybody can decide what they want, what area they want to work on. But I have decided that this is what I want to work on in the Gambia, and I work on it by trying to build together, to bring together people who have similar drive and passion as me, and we are working towards this problem. Our motto in my organization is we try, you know, First we try, and when it doesn't work out, we come back to the drawing board. So, and we don't just try, we do have a plan. We say, okay, this is what we think is the solution, this is what we think is a problem, and this is what we think is a solution. So how do we make sure that we implement a solution? So we try different steps, we propose ideas, we propose action that can meet our objectives. And once we try those, and if those actions don't work for a particular reason, we come back and we brainstorm what happened, what went wrong. We go back and we try again. So we try always, we encourage everybody to try always. So I'm not working off leadership experiences, I'm working off my passion and my purpose that I have for my life.
Thank you so much, Mom. That's really, really interesting, and I hope we all noting. And from what we have actually seen, it appears to be that actually the best or the most sustainable form of motivation is actually the motivation of solving people's problems. Because with that, it's like the journey never ends, and as long as problems persist, your work persists, and your passion also still drives you. So thank you so much for that. There's also a comment that we kind of overlooked in the comment section. It says, for young people who are studying abroad in various universities and will want to get into entrepreneurship, how do they get access to these internship opportunities that equip them for problem solving? I realize that studying abroad sometimes limits you because of so much bureaucracy. Since we are not citizens of these countries we are studying in, it basically leaves most of foreign students dormant, apart from academics. Duro, you also have experience as an international student in the US, and
Definitely. So
it was really
when my first during my first degree, I had an internship. I started off working on campus. uh, I worked as a resident assistant on campus, and that was great because being a resident assistant on campus, I had free room on board. So that saved money for me and my family. So I started off there. I built some skills. When you're a resident assistant, you receive training on how to solve problems in your dorm when something occurs. Because basically, as a resident assistant, you're in charge of a building, and this is where students sleep. This is where I was sleeping, and we had, I think, 15 students in that building. So when they come with their problems, I am their first point of contact. So that really gave me a lot of skills to solve and communicate with people. So we can start on campus. Let's look for the jobs on campus. After being a resident assistant, I worked also on another area of campus where I was doing record keeping. I learned how to do record keeping from there. From there, I decided that I wanted to work. I got a job at Best Buy, and you know, you just keep doing it. I know it's that first one that takes a lot of, but once you get that first one, it becomes easier. So really, just let us think carefully about how we want to go about it. As an international student, your primary job is to understand where resources are in your university. Do not wait for people to give you information. Walk into the international students office. If there's no one international student office, walk into the regular students office and find out information. Ask, ask, ask. Do not be afraid to hear no, because after all, you don't have it where you are. So if you don't ask, your situation does not change. The worst that someone can tell you is no. And so when they tell you no, you ask another question. I think the people in my international student office, they even knew me after like the first 3 months, because I kept going there with different questions. When they tell me no for one, I go back and I think another one and I go back. So as an international student, ask a lot of questions. Ask about your status, ask about how you can get this internship. Once people see that you're interested and you're engaged, they are more willing to help you. Who's just going to sit down and bring the information to you? Nobody's going to do that. So you have to go out there and get the information. So as an international student, be more engaged. Be more engaged. That's the most important thing. Find, like, go to the career services office. Tell them you're looking for anything to gain experience. Maybe you don't need money as a student, so money should not be your focus as a student. But I know that this is not true for everybody. Some people, they go to university and they hope that they can find work to continue their paying for their tuition, and I totally respect this. So but if you're in that position, I would also encourage you, just go and ask. But the end goal is that you get a very good paying job after you graduate. So we have to balance also our priorities, our needs, our wants. So I'm not sure exactly how you can approach this if money is your primary focus when you go to university. But if money is not your primary focus, there are unpaid internship, there are volunteer opportunities. Go to your community center in the community, go to your city hall, find out what is going on there. It is your duty to find out the information. Don't sit and wait for someone to bring the information to you, because it might never happen.
So thank you so much, Duro. As you rightly mentioned, ask, and be more proactive and seek things. Don't actually wait for things to actually to come to you. Thank you so much. And speaking of also internships, especially in foreign countries, normally as of now, for example, the case of Morocco, there are not many internships available, but they, as you rightly mentioned before, most of the time in the countries you find hackathons that actually engage young people to be more startup driven. So we have those things in the country here. They are startups. They are also incubators for student entrepreneurs and all of that. So in a case where you don't also find internship, you can also look for these competitions, and you can win a lot of uh, recognition, and also even money is also part of it.
Yeah, yes, of course, yeah. So yeah, and I'm sure this hackathon don't care that you're not a Moroccan. They're open to
No,
everybody.
there's actually
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, so there you go. So we, like I said, we just need to find out. We need to ask other international students. If you see another student who's got a job, hey, how did you do this? How did you manage? People are willing to share. If that person is not willing to share, you find another person. Do not be discouraged when you ask someone and they don't give you the information. Don't get discouraged. This is it doesn't take you anywhere. You know how many times I've been told no. It's like me when you tell me no, it's time for me to go and rethink and come back again. I don't take no for an answer. You tell me no, I go back and I say, hey, what Kiwana did it? What? Yun na ko muna like that. I go back and I rethink the question. I go back and I say, what about this if I do it like this? So just be more engaged, be more curious. Things are happening around us all the time. So be more curious, stay up on top of things, look at the news, look at job boards. When you go to the supermarket, they have all these things that they stick there, people looking for work. If you need money, I'm sure there are jobs that you can do that will pay you a little bit of money. When I was in university, I was doing also I was even braiding my other college students. They would come to me and say, I started off braiding African American guys. They would come, they want cornrows. The African girl is here. Let me go and find out. I was charging $35 per head. This is how I was getting small money. So let's use our resources. We can do these things. Yeah. Don't take no for an answer, please.
Thank you so much. There's also another question in the comment section asking, what programs do you have planned out for PIE in the near future?
So we're really hoping this year. We know it's too late for the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Normally we have it in October or November, and it's already September. So this year it's late. But for next year, we're really hoping that we can get started on the summit. We can have another edition of it next year for 2023. We're hopeful. We're looking for partners to collaborate with us to help us with funding that we require for the summit. But before that, we're also looking to implement. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am
Ibrahim
free.
is going. Okay.
Yeah.
We want to do the internship program, and we also have a program for high school that we have this all planned out, and I'm just looking for volunteers on the ground and even on the diaspora. Even if you're in the diaspora and you want to contribute, I myself am based in Germany at the moment, so let that not stop you. I do my best work online, so I'm open to anybody, no matter where you are. So we have three programs that we really want to launch for 2023, and I'm in the planning phases. I'm looking for people to join me in the planning and execution of it. The first one is the summit that will happen next November during Entrepreneurship Week. The second one is the internship program that we want to launch sometime in March. You know, the application forms, everything are ready. We just need to people to support us to reach out to different organizations and have them come on board, willing to take on an intern. And also the leadership development program. This is something that I piloted this year with Mr. Drame, and we're hoping that we can launch it on 10 schools in Gambia this year. So basically, that program is for young people to work in teams in their in their high schools to solve problems in their local areas. So yes, these are the three programs that we have for the foreseeable future. PI is always looking for volunteers to come on board. We are a not for profit, and this is self funded. It's a self funded not for profit. So, really, what we can offer right now, like I offer internet. If you are based in Gambia, we will pay for your internet to be able to work remotely since I am not based in Gambia. And also, you get a lot. I think I'm a fun person to work with, so I, I can offer a fun working environment for any young person who wants to learn.
Very good. I think these are very, very wonderful projects that if they succeed, they are going to be very, very impactful in our own community, especially the one that you have for the high school students. Because I think they are the people that very, very well need these programs, mind shaping programs, and they are really life-saving programs because programs that gives you a picture of how to plan yourself for the future. It's something that is very, very important. I'm looking forward to the success of this project.
All right, thank you for giving me the platform to talk about it.
And we still have more and more questions because we want the conversation to be more to be very interesting and how to call it interactive, not only between the two hosts and you, but even with the followers on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So we would continue reading from their comments and questions. So we have here Abdullah White Bojang. He said the ideas are really amazing. However, my question is, what what advice would you give to a graduate, to undergraduate students, especially those in the tech area, on career choosing? I think this brought me to a similar question that I think I can integrate with this one so that you can
Yeah.
give a response at once. That is if right now we have a whole lot of graduates that just recently graduated, especially in Morocco. you know they just left back for home. So what advice would you give these people? Would you give a graduate that actually is willing to start a business or beyond to go back there and search for a job? What advice do you actually give these two sets of people? I mean, the support that.
So,
Yeah,
are
go
you
ahead,
talking
please.
about university graduates from Morocco who have gone back home to Gambia?
No, like not only Morocco, especially Morocco, because right now we have a whole lot of them that went back to the Gambia.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, this is a very tough space to navigate. I completely understand, and I understand that it can also be very, very frustrating. Imagine after 4 years of university and you're looking for work 1 year after, 2 years after. So, it can be very frustrating, and I understand this. But, like I said, look online. In this day and age, there's a lot of companies that are hiring remote workers, uh, get in there, get involved. Like I will on my Facebook page, on my partnership in employment page, I will go and share a lot of links for companies who are hiring work online. Follow I forgot to say this earlier, but this is the age of social media. Everybody is on social media. Engage and network on social media. What I am doing in my job search is I look for people who are in similar roles that I want to be, and connect with them on LinkedIn. I have a standard script I can share also on my platform if you want to connect on LinkedIn. And I've gotten responses. I also understand that not everybody wants to network, so I'm not, it doesn't derail me when somebody doesn't respond to my connection request. It just means that I look for another person, you know. So connect online, use social media, follow people that are in your similar work that you're interested in, connect with them. Also, apply for work remotely if you can. If applying for work in Gambia is taking a long time, we have to understand that the Gambian market also is small. So if you cannot find work in Gambia, apply remotely. They have these networks that they call freelancer. We have Fiverr where you can be a freelancer. So go ahead, use these platforms. I recommend them highly. You can start off with small projects, even if you are getting paid $5 for your project, for your work, $5 an hour. You know, you can set your rate. People are charging even up to 600 an hour in this a day in these platforms. So go in there, get a project or two, build your portfolio so that you can charge higher, you know. So this is one of the great things about living in Gambia. You can charge as much as you want, you can charge as little as you want. I think they call Fiverr, Fivrr. I will post those links on my Facebook page for people who are interested. But you can work remotely, follow the people, and connect on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, go ahead and go create one. It's free.
Mhm. Very well. Omar, you can come ahead, please.
Yes, just to highlight on the personal branding that she was just talking about LinkedIn. It's actually very important when it comes to professional personal branding and development. There are a lot of interesting things there, and even much of the biographical information that we have about Duro, we actually took it from her LinkedIn profile, and it's actually amazing when it comes to shedding light on someone's achievements and their parkour. Thank you. Is there other questions or in the chat box?
Yeah, there are still some questions in the chat box because, like I said, the platform needs to be very interesting. That is by taking some questions from them. I mean, here Idris Sanya, he said, my question is, what specifically can governments do in supporting youth in such sectors, especially those with mentality that they won't succeed if they got involved? That is in the entrepreneurship domain.
Um, Government, I think government has been very active in this area. We have quite a few projects that government is involved in. We have the Youth Entrepreneurship Project, that is YEP, and they've been doing quite a few jobs. I keep mentioning it because they've been doing quite a good job with entrepreneurship. You have the GYCC, Gambia Youth Chamber of Commerce. Also, they have been on the forefront. You have NEDI, also there, and you have GIZ also has, I heard now, an entrepreneurship center in the Gambia, and this is I'm definitely sure in collaboration with government. So on government's part, yes, there's little resources. Government can do more what government than what they're doing now, but unfortunately, we have a government where sometimes I say we the people have to lead. So sometimes we have to understand that we have to lead our governments. It is we that are the taxpayers. And so when we were doing the Youth Entrepreneurship Summit, the first year we tried to launch it, it was a complete failure because we were waiting for government. to help us. And when we decided that we are not going to wait for government, we actually just went about it, and we forgot about government. It was them that was when towards the summit. It was government that came and said, "Look, we want to be a part of this project." Sometimes we have to lead our government, and it's totally fine for us to do that. There's nothing wrong with us. Let's not always wait for government. And we have to understand that once we keep waiting, nothing happens. We take this initiative with the bullhead and just go with it. Sometimes we run with it, and I encourage us all to do that. So yes, government is trying. They could definitely do more, especially when it comes to loans. When I needed a loan for my business to Kiman, the interest rate was 22% at that point, at that time. Fortunately for me, I had someone who could give me collateral. And I know this is not the norm for the average Gambian, like which young 32-year-old is going to have a huge piece of collateral for a loan that at 22%. So yeah, so we need to make sure that government is working on this interest rate, because as we mentioned earlier, the gap to scale a business can sometimes be astronomical, the cost. And if you want to take a loan at 22%, you're thinking, how am I going to pay 25%? Almost a quarter of my profits into refinancing a loan, into financing a loan. It is a ridiculous amount. So yeah, this is one area that government can look in. It's a low hanging fruit, I think, for government. I'm not sure if government is ready to give up the high interest rates, but these are some of the things that we have to also advocate for. As I'm saying, that we cannot always wait for government. Sometimes we have to lead, so we have to advocate for government to reconsider the interest rates and make sure that they are something that we can work with.
Thank you so much, Joel. This is really, really phenomenal. And from the past phrases that have been, there was actually a lot of inspiration, especially when it comes to these initiatives where we do not actually have to wait for the government, but to actually take things into our hand. And this is very important because most of the time we tend to blame the system, and we don't actually know that we are the system ourselves. And as long as we live in a country with divine sovereignty and system, we have the ability to create any project and produce economic value and be regardless, and be rewarded regardless of the system in place. So the state can actually play a very important role in
Yeah, it seems he is
uh,
having some connection issues. Amar, if you're talking, okay, you can continue. I think you will be audible now.
I'm audible, right?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah. So I was just saying, well, like most of these projects, we can take an excuse, we can use an alibi for the system, but most of it largely depends on our commitment and on our determination too. And at the same time, the leadership that is also in place is just a reflection of how committed we are to change. Leaders are you and me, and those we work along, and not actually always the government. That's actually what I wanted to add.
Indeed, indeed, very, very important. I mean, Duro made mention of another point here that I think is very, very important because as a starter, you most of the time you don't have the funds that it's required to reach where you want to. So you must have to go and take loans into this from financial institutions. So in that event, if there is a huge interest rate that is being levied on those funds that you can at least get that would kind of be a discouraging factors for many that would want to venture into business. So I think the government could do better in that, and we're hoping to see that positive thing from their end. So I think we still have a whole lot of questions from the chats, but then time wouldn't allow us to read all these questions from them. But I also want to know if your organizations or your businesses are or how open to partnership are you, especially to the student associations like Gasam.
Sorry for that, I was muted. It is my dream to work with more youth organizations, and I started Pi when I was a youth, and like I was saying initially, I started off by saying that young people are in the best position to solve the problems affecting them. You that have the problem know, with are in a very good position to be able to solve the problem. So, but sometimes I also understand that because we are young people, we do not have the tools or resources and skills necessary to solve them. And this is why I am so passionate about Pi, because this is one area we want to solve. We want to make sure that young people have the skills and they can solve their own problem themselves. And not only young people, but also Gambians in general have the skills, the resources, the tools necessary to solve it. So I am open to working with any organization. If you're part of a youth organization and you want to just know how, at PI, I have bigger dreams than just these three programs that I mentioned: the internship program, the summit, and I have more than just these three programs. I have bigger dreams. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm always somebody with big ideas and big dreams, but I cannot do them on my own. So I'm really looking to partner with other organizations. So if you're young, or if you're a youth-based organization and you're looking to partner, for instance, it is my dream to have a partnership summit where we bring in all these organizations who are working in the non-profit, so we can partner based on our strengths and weaknesses and collaborate more. That is something I have for the future once Pi becomes established. And mind you, I've started Pi 2013, so almost 9 years ago, and I'm still struggling with it. So I just want people to understand that these are not things that you come in and you just walk. You need dedication, consistency, and know that it's going to be a painful journey. So if you're a if you're a youth-based organization and just looking to partner in any which way, I encourage you to come on board. Send me a message. My Facebook page is Partnership in Employment. When you just go to Facebook, if you type partnership in employment, it will come up. And I'm really looking to partner. I'm looking eagerly for partners to collaborate with.
Thank you so very much, Drew. I think Gasam will equally be very, very willing to come forward and really partner with you, because I believe we have the human resource, that would be able to work with impactful people like you. I think
I will
that
I will
brought
reach out to you.
very well. Very well. That brought us to the end of the program. We have a whole lot of questions from the comment sections, but
I
then
will
we wouldn't
engage
have the
after.
time.
I will
Definitely,
possibly
no,
respond to those questions on after the program.
no problems. Okay, you can make follow-ups on the page. As this will be responding to these questions later on. So, before ending the program, I would like to thank you first of all for honoring our invitations and being here to take us through this important theme of discussion. So, we appreciate your time and we appreciate your presence. I believe a lot have been learned by us and everyone who joined the program. Thank you very much, Duro. And thank you to all those that are able to join us for today's session. We appreciate your coming. Hope you also learn from the program. Thank you so very much, Drew. We appreciate your
Thank you
time.
for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the platform to talk. I'm always looking for a platform to talk about price. So thank you for giving me this platform. And I hope that I will be able to, I will answer to all the people who left comments and questions. I will answer as many as possible. I will answer after this program. I will go and start engaging with them. And like I said, I'm looking to collaborate. So if you're out there and you're just looking to collaborate, you can send me a private message. You can post a comment on the live, or you can send me a private message through my partnership and employment page. Thank you, and you're
Definitely.
doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you so very much. I think you're doing a better job by, honoring our invitations and getting us through what we want to hear as youth. Thank you once again, Duro. And I will be ending the program from here.
Okay.